Hi, my name is Ed Briggs and I'm the professor for NUR520 Health Systems, Policy, and Resource Management. This is a brief introduction to the class, and I'm going to kind of go over what the expectations are for the class. So I'm going to discuss what the expectations are for the class and also share with you some resources that are available that will help you with the class. So first and foremost, there will be 8 weekly discussion boards. All of you will be expected to participate in the boards and provide scholarly, graduate level discussions of the issues that are being presented. So each of you will be expected to post a position on the issue that we're discussing that week. Your postings should be at the scholarly level, at the graduate level, and your position should be supported by peer-reviewed research and data. Now, peer-reviewed would be a professional journal article, an original piece of research, or some other resource. Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, Newsweek, or your local newspaper, in most instances is not an acceptable supporting piece of data to support your position unless there's none other available. We're looking for scholarly level work, and so the expectation is you'll use scholarly level resources to support your position. You will also be expected to reply to 2 of your colleagues and reply to their position. Again, this is not an opportunity for you to solely present your opinion, but to present your position on the issue and use data to support that position. So when you reply to your colleagues, you should have resources and research to support your position in response to their position. So yes, it's okay to say, in your experience, but also find data that supports your position. In week 3, there will be 2 tasks that will be due. The first is an equitable healthcare position statement. So you are to select a population that has some inequity in healthcare, some lack of access to healthcare. Previous folks have done papers on lack of breast cancer screening for inner city low-income families, or lack of access to adequate healthcare for transgendered individuals. That's fine. Any inequity of healthcare, you're to select a population that has an inequity, detail what cause of the inequity, and also detail some potential solutions to that inequity. Again, APA format at the scholarly graduate level. Now, if you have problems, you can contact me. I can help you with that. Keiser also has several resources to help you with your paper. But my expectation is that this is in proper APA format at the scholarly graduate level. You will also be expected to write an elevator speech. And a lot of folks have anxiety about the elevator speech, but it's fairly simple. Essentially, you want to write a brief speech like you're stuck in an elevator with someone and you're trying to convince them of a position. So the speech should be brief, concise, and factually based. And the goal is you're trying to convince someone you're in that elevator with of your position. So it should be very supported by the data. Doesn't need to be long, doesn't need to be lengthy, but it does need to be concise and fact-based. In week 6, you'll be expected to write a letter to a congressman. This could be a U.S. congressman or a U.S. senator. Basically, you're trying to convince them of a position that you're taking. It's an adequacy letter. So if you're advocating for improved staffing or improved workplace safety or expanded scope of practice for advanced practice nurses. So you want to select an issue that you're passionate about and write a letter to a U.S. representative or senator trying to convince them of your position. Again, make sure you have evidence to support it. So you want to have a reference list. And you also want to include in your paper that you turn into me the history of that legislator, their party affiliation, how long they've served, what their position is, what committees they might serve on, and any healthcare legislation they may have sponsored. Finally, in the last week, you will be expected to do an advocacy presentation and a speech. So you don't have to actually perform the speech. It's a written speech. But you will be expected to provide a presentation. The goal of the presentation and the speech is you are trying to convince a professional audience of an issue that you're advocating for. So it's like giving a speech to a group of nurses, trying to convince them of the importance of expanded scope of practice for nurses, or the importance of improving healthcare access for low-income families. Whatever position you're advocating for, you want to develop a presentation and a speech. The speech you turn in, the presentation you'll be expected to do live. I will set up dates soon for you to sign up to actually perform the presentation. Now, for the presentation and speech, I will accept group work. So if 2 or 3 of you want to get together and work on it together, that's fine, and then you can present together. That's fine. However, remember that any group work, all of you share the grade. So everyone will be getting the same grade, regardless of how much work each individual puts in. But I will accept group work for the presentation and the speech. So if you're interested in doing group work, let me know and we can set something up. Now, there are several resources that are available to you to help you better comprehend the content and definitely succeed in the class. One of them is, in each week, there is a PowerPoint presentation that correlates to the readings you have in the textbook. So I strongly recommend you download those PowerPoint presentations and review them, because they'll help you better understand the content that we're discussing. I will also present video postings at different points, and I'll also let you know when they're posted. I'll be reviewing some topical content of what's going on today regarding health policy. And then I'll also share with you different web resources that'll help you succeed in the class, but also help you better understand the interplay between health policy and healthcare delivery. Now, this is not a political exercise. This is not a point for you to share your rhetoric or your political position. This is a class targeted at providing detailed, reasoned, evidence-based positions on health policy. So the purpose of this class is to educate you regarding the interplay between health policy, health systems, and resource utilization. This is not a political exercise, but a graduate level discussion and analysis of the interplay between health policy and healthcare delivery. So the expectation is that you conduct yourself at the scholarly graduate level, and that on any position you take is supported by reasoned evidence. Now, there are many different issues that we can discuss, and as the weeks progress, we will. The problems facing our nation when it comes to healthcare are fairly daunting, but there are real solutions that are available. So my hope is we'll have the opportunity to discuss some of those solutions and help you develop the skills you need to advocate for the position you're taking to help advance healthcare delivery. Because in real terms, when you look at most other nations, they spend the vast majority of their resources on prevention and wellness, then chronic disease management, and finally acute care. And in most nations, they see acute care, when an individual is hospitalized, as being a failure in the system. But when you look at our healthcare system, it's the inverse of this pyramid. We spend the vast majority of our resources on acute care, then some on chronic disease management, and very little on prevention and wellness. So pretty much all health policy experts agree that we need to switch this pyramid. And the way to do that is for healthcare providers to advocate for their position. But to do that, we need to have the skills and knowledge to do so. And that's the purpose of this class. Now, when we talk about health policy, there are many different aspects. And when you do your postings and you do your papers, you can take on any of these issues, whether it's philosophy, which is the right to health care, or economics, spending our healthcare resources in the best possible way. We can discuss health research policy or workforce policy. That's pretty much safe stamping. That's pretty much scope of practice issues. And then we can also discuss local, regional, or health policy issues. Local being where you work. Staffing, policy and procedures. That's all local health policy. Regional, or even global health issues. So many of these issues are perfectly acceptable to discuss, but it's important that you meet the expectations that are detailed in your syllabus. So make sure you've downloaded the syllabus, you've looked over it, and you're very comfortable and familiar with it. Now, the best way to contact me is by email, and I will reply to all emails as quickly as possible. But if it's urgent, you need to get a hold of me quickly, this is my cell phone number, and you can call me. Please be aware that I work in nuclear medicine, so we receive no cell signal. So during work hours, which for me is about 8 a.m. to about 4:30 p.m., I will not be able to be reached by cell phone. I can access my email, so I'll check my email throughout the day.